Welcome to season 2 of the Plant Isles. In this series, I visit every single plant in a specific section of my plant nursery. Each episode features a different section. Today, we'll be exploring the philodendron aisle because I asked earlier which one you would like to see, and you voted for philodendron. Most people chose or mentioned the philodendron aisle. If you would like to vote for what you get to see next, please join my Patreon where I will post a poll to you get to vote for what you'd like to see next. I think I'll be picking up something from the philodendron section today because I see a plant that is on my wish list. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick the small one or the big one as yet, but without further ado and babbling, let's get started. I will start up above, and as you can see right now, there's a sale that's happening right now. I have a video showing the entire sale where I tour the nursery and show what's what. It's a progressive sale from 10 to 70% off. You can check out that video if you're curious. So that's why you're going to see some of these sale signs. But the first plant that I will share from this section is the philodendron white wizard. It is currently for $29.99. And this is my favorite philodendron off of that white wizard, white princess, pink princess marble of that family. I've said this a million times before. I think it doesn't behave like the others. It's sort of the ugly duckling, but not so ugly, the different duckling, I should say, of that family. And it's the best behaved one, if you ask me. It has the most beautiful, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful variegation. But what I must say is this one that I'm looking at, the leaves actually look a little bit different. They look more like the white princess with the elongated leaf shape. Usually the white wizard is this very wide. It looks more like this. Not even, like wider than this. Mine has a very wide paddled-like look to it. And it's so interesting how this one is just a little bit different than mine. But I guess as plants get reproduced, the looks can sometimes change just a little bit unless this is a different variation. I don't know. But anyways, that's this one. And then you can find here the philodendron moonlight. So the purpose of us here today is to explore and discover and learn about different and new plants. So the philodendron moonlight is huge. It has these very large leaves that remind me of an anthurium, and this one is for $50. And down below is the philodendron lemon lime, but it's not the vining one like we're used to. It's more of like a climbing one, but it is gorgeous. I don't even think the real lemon lime color is really being captured on camera. And then over here, they've got the philodendron Prince of Orange for $24.99. It has these very bright orange leaves. Man, that is gorgeous. Ooh, 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 ooh. That is stunning. But when they harden off to this yellowish greenish color. If the leaves stayed this color, they would have me. I would definitely get one of those. But yeah. It's gorgeous. Very nice. I find philodendron aren't difficult. As I watch some plant videos, I've realized that I guess philodendron is difficult for a few people, but philodendron are very much so like monstera for me. I find them to be quite easy to grow and very resilient. Yeah, I think maybe it's a genus that we might overthink just a little bit. At least that's what I've noticed. If I'm wrong, that'd be great. And everyone thinks it's easy, that would be great. So this is the philodendron Macaulay finale. This is for $25. Very similar, or a little similar, I should say, to the Prince of Orange, except it's more of like a burgundy look to the new leaves rather than that bright orange color on the Prince of Orange. And then just like the Prince of Orange, it hardens off to a green color. And we have the Ring of Fire. We know this one is quite popular and well loved in the plant community. I love a highly variegated Ring of Fire. I love those sword-like looking leaves that have that jagged edge to them. And as they mature, these jagged edges become even more pronounced. And I just love a ring of fire with high amounts of irrigation. I think I said that already, but I had to say it again because I think they're gorgeous. And ring of fires are quite they grow very, not stubby is not the word that I'm looking for, but they have very small internodal spacing. So it takes a while for them to get big. A lot of philodendron or some philodendron can sometimes have bigger and they get internodal spaces and they get taller quite quickly. I find the ring of fire stays quite small and can be quite shrubby, which is nice. I appreciate that about it. But I definitely think you could put it on a possible moss pole because eventually it starts to need support. And then I think you probably get even more dramatic leaves. I think that's what I would love for my ring of fire. Then they've got the philodendron billietiae, which again was one of those really famous plants for a minute. These are for $39.99. These very long lobed, not long lobed, but these very long leaves. I don't know. It doesn't attract me because it looks like when I think of an alien, that's what I imagine the shape of its head to look like. I'm sorry if you love this plant, but that's just what I see when I look at it. Oh, there's a little bit of sap on it on the leaves, but these are for 39, and then they've got baby ones for 29. Yeah, the prices of houseplants right now have taken a turn. Like the prices have come down significantly for plants that were once rare and becoming more common. I guess with tissue culture, a lot of plants are being produced really fast. I mean, in the YouTube community, we know of a lot who have been affected by it, but it really brings prices down for those of us who want to collect some of these plants that we admire and love and want to grow in our collection. So this is the philodendron moonlight. This is for $11.99. Again, so many just very slight variations of philodendron. So similar coloring to the lemon lime, but not as bright as the lemon lime. And the leaf shape is just a little bit different. It's a little bit broader as well. Okay, did I miss one? Yes, I missed the philodendron sun red up above. This is for $11.99. Again, so more of that red burgundy leaf color, and then it hardens off to like a green color. Then the philodendron jopii, which is such a unique look. Such a unique look. I think it's such a unique taste. I'm trying to be nice. It's just not my taste, but it's quite unique. If you like unique looking plants, if you like to, get out of the typical look like this when it comes to houseplants, I think the jopii and the tortum are really nice options for you. Even the billietiae, like we just looked at, they're different. The ring of fire, they're quite different in the way they look. So this is for $19.99. And then the philodendron tortum is a plant that I'm torn about. When I look at a juvenile version of this plant, I'm not in love. But then I look at some mature pictures online and they are gorgeous. But anyways, I think I will have to resort to loving them that way. They have these very palm-like leaves, very, very small, very fine, and very delicate. As you can see, they break quite easily, but they are quite unique and gorgeous. They are beautiful. Yeah. And then a little further down, there's the Esmeraldens. Yes, philodendron Esmeraldens. These are for $15. I'm not quite sure how these look when they're mature, but I don't imagine it to be that much different than the way they look right now. But yeah, and I'm not reading the labels that say bright indirect light because it's going to say that for everything. But with philodendron, I do find that they don't need direct light, and I don't think they enjoy it. It burns the leaves. But for the most part, they like medium light. Some of them can tolerate a little bit of lower light for a little while. Usually the ones, not lower light, but not closer to bright, a little bit closer to the low medium sort of. I feel like the more velvet leaves ones might. So like this is a philodendron L choco red. I featured mine recently on my channel. It's a plant I like the leaves. I like the neon veins. The red backs are very nice. Sadly, the red backs fade as the plant matures. And to me, that's one of the my favorite characteristics of this plant. This one's for $20. And these are a lot bigger than mine when I bought mine at this nursery a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago. And apparently, I'm overthinking mine, or maybe I'm neglecting mine too much, is what I should say, because a lot of people in the comments mentioned that this plant is an easy plant to grow. But mine has been struggling a little bit, and I think it's because I'm underwatering it. One commenter said that this plant is a thirstier plant, and I do agree, especially if you're giving it high amounts of light, which I don't think it needs. But if you are doing that, it needs to be watered a lot. It needs a lot of water. So, yeah. And I think if I could do that, since that video, I've been watering it, top watering it a lot more. I had it in self-watering, and I don't think it enjoyed that. But since I've started top watering it, it's been happier. And here is the beloved philodendron, very wholesome. I'm shocked, still shocked that this is just sitting here in a nursery, not even in the rare cabinet, just sitting here like this. This is one of my favorite philodendrons, if not my favorite philodendron in my entire collection. I find that it has these beautiful red backs, these beautiful fuzzy petioles. I've talked so much about this plant. It was in my favorite houseplant for the year of 2024. Beautiful. One thing I will note is that these look different. The leaf shapes are a little bit different than mine. Just like I mentioned with the white wizard, they're just a little bit different. Is it because tissue culture makes them a little bit different? I think mine might have grown from seed, because mine was so tiny when I got it. It looked like it grew from a seed. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but I'm pretty sure when this matures, it will not look very different from the existing, the one that we have, the one that I have right home. And over here is the philodendron. I believe it's the gloriosum. Yes, the infamous philodendron gloriosum. It is a little faded here, or is it normal for the leaves to look this pale? I always thought the gloriosum, which obviously I don't know much about, I always thought they had like a darker leaf color like the El Choco and the varicosum. But anyways, these are a little lighter in color. It could be that they're bleached, or not sure, or maybe that's just how it typically looks. Maybe that's just it. But anyways, they've got these big leaves when they mature. A popular one, I remember when this was what everyone talked about, it's here for $10. And I don't know much about the care because I don't have one. They've got bigger versions of the Ring of Fire. These are for $14. I can never get over how the prices of the Ring of Fire have come down so much. And like, look at the variegation on this one. Oh my. This level of variegation wasn't even an option when I was looking for mine. Like, it's not even like a speckled. This one is like sectoral. Like, that's stunning. I hope that mine can eventually push out something like that. And then over here they've got the philodendron. What's this one? The white measure. I mean, I've seen this around, but never knew the name of it. Philodendron white measure. It reminds me a lot of the Birkin. And wondering if it's maybe a form of the Birkin or a new name for the Birkin. Again, I remember the Birkin was very popular at one point, but I never joined that train. It never struck me, never got my attention a whole lot. But actually, I think it's prettier than the Birkin, if you ask me, because doesn't the Birkin go down to like all green? This one still has like white stripes in it. I think this is even more beautiful. And here is the plant that has been on my wish list, but I'm not sure today if I want to pick up a bigger version of it or a smaller version of it. And I know I'm very late to this. I know, don't remind me. I'm very late to the philodendron Micans game. I remember when everyone was raving about the philodendron Micans, and I just couldn't get it. I was just like, what? Like, it's just But I also wasn't into the varicosum and all of that. There was a time when I wasn't until I was. And after I got the varicosum and was became obsessed, it was probably my favorite plant of 2024. It's a big statement, but I said it. I said it. That's when I realized I loved the velvet leaves. And I just think, like, you've seen this a million times, a cascading version of this off of one of my shelves in my plant room would be perfection. It would be perfection. It would be stunning. And I was tempted to buy it a couple weeks ago, but I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because now they have baby versions of them. Like, they have tinier pots. So that is nice. And today there's a 10% off sale. So this tiny pot is for $11.99, but then they've got, and then the big pot is for $24.99. So I'm not sure which one I would like to look at. And I'm saying this because I feel like it's nice to start a plant from small when you have the satisfaction of growing it big. It also saves money when you can get a smaller version. But I think with vining plants, because with vining plants, a full look is sort of the look. You know, a scrawny vining plant isn't quite as beautiful as a nice full version. So I just think I'm better off just starting with a nice full one that I don't have to worry about chopping and propping and sticking it back in. My lemon lime, if we have to transition over into the lemon lime is super easy. I literally just chop an edge and I cutting or chop below the note and stick it back in, and they're just fine. Super happy, super easy. This is another one of my staple philodendron. I could easily have multiples of this all over my space. It is so easy. Oh, can tolerate low light. By the time you see this video, my low light trailing houseplants video should be out. Go take a look at it. This plant is fantastic. Recommend it. I know I'm late to the train, but yeah, for a long time I was mostly into Monstera, and I think 2024 was the year of philodendron and Hoya for me. Anyways, this is the Micans. So I'm going to pick one and you can join me. I'm going to choose a philodendron Micans. And oh, thank you. Have we met before? Oh, I'm Stephanie. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Thanks for saying hi. Hi, Megan. Okay, so I'm gonna pick one. I typically go for the plants in the back just because plants in the front tend to be picked through. So these ones look nice. So this is a nice one. Let's see. Oh, okay. So we've got number 1 or number 2. What do I like? Well, number 2. I'm sorry, I said this is number 1, right? Okay. So number 1 looks nice. Look at that. Look at how many plants are in a pot. They've got so many plants in a pot. That looks nice. Let's see, roots coming out the bottom. Not really. So it's still a pretty, not too juvenile. This is number 1. Number 1 doesn't look like it has as many plants in a pot, right? Number 2 looks like it has more. But the leaves on number 1 look better. That's a tough one. The leaves on number 1 look a bit darker. Number 2 looks lighter. Almost like it got a little too much light at one point. This one definitely looks darker. Digging in the back, looking for ones with not only pretty leaves, because hey, the plant can grow more pretty leaves, but looking for that sort of type of foliage that I'm looking for. This one's nice. Nice dark leaves here too, but still not as full. All right, so let's see. All right. Ooh, this one's not bad, but again, still, the leaves are still a bit on the lighter side. Not sure why. Anyways, I think number 1 and 2 that I picked might have been the best ones of the bunch. Yeah, definitely. I think I might have picked the best ones of the bunch. Now, it's either I go with a big version or I can get a small version. Now, if I get a small version, my mom picked a really good small one. My mom is very good at picking plants. Like, all right, the small versions, they're great. And I think if you are on a budget, which I am, I don't know why I'm saying this like I'm not. Oh, look at this one. Isn't this small one nice? Roots coming out the bottom. $11.99 at 10% off. I mean, That's nice. That's a really good price. But 10% off 25, I get double the size of this. Maybe like more than double. So look at this. This is for 10. This is for 20. It definitely is double the size, isn't it? Yeah. Or it could just be that they're just planted closer together and these are sort of planted further apart. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at how far apart these are and look at how compact this is. Heck, I might be better off even buying two of the small ones and making this one big one. Ah! What am I doing to myself here? Does anyone else shop this way? I don't know. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I'm going to have to call my mom to come help me. Mumsy wants to be off camera, but she will come to help. So I'm picking a philodendron Micans. I confused my numbers. I think this was number 1 and this was number 2. Which one do you like better?
Number 1.
Number 1?
Better. Mm-hmm.
What about number
It's
1 do you
fuller.
like? It's fuller. Yeah, it does look fuller. It does look fuller. Okay, number 1 she picks. Now, here's another question. I'm going to put this one back. Here's another question. This is for $25, 10% off. Or I can get 2 for the same price. So for the same price, I can get 2 small ones and put them in together. What do you think?
No.
Why not?
To me, having one nice full plant is always better.
But it's also going to be a full plant if we put them together.
Yeah, I guess so, but I think one big plant is better. Unless if the price would be different, if you're gonna save anything, but if the price
22
is
together, they're 24. It's the same price. They were super smart when they did this.
No.
The baby ones do have more growth coming out of it, like really nice growth coming out of it. Let's see. This one also has growth as well, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, we're sticking with this one. Thank you.
And the bigger one, the leaves are nice,
more mature as well.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Thank you. Okay, so we're still at the philodendron table. And over here, we've got the philodendron Pink Princess Marble. This is basically the same as the Pink Princess, just a more splashy version of the variegation. These are for $25. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. I find this plant needs very high amounts of variegation for the new leaves to not get stuck while unfurling. And it's a good idea to get a very variegated specimen, because if you don't, then a non-very variegated specimen would not have the genes, or may not have the genes to give you a very variegated plant, which is what you're getting it for, right? You're getting it for that green, that pink. So if when you get it, there's not a lot of pink, the odds of you getting a lot of pink are quite low. So yeah, but a beautiful plant to look at if you can match the conditions and if you have the patience. So there's a philodendron next to it, the philodendron Red Anderson. These are for $24.99, and from what I heard, they probably behave quite similarly to the Pink Princess as well.